There are cities that seem to have been designed by gods or by minds that knew something we have yet to understand. Places that, when seen from above, reveal geometric secrets so precise, so calculated, that many question whether they were truly planned by humans, or if there is something more behind them. Today, we are going to travel through 15 cities around the world built in perfect geometric shapes. Stars, circles, spirals, and grids so symmetrical that they defy modern logic. Why were they created this way? Coincidence? Military strategy? Or perhaps some ancient and forgotten knowledge? From Brasilia, in the heart of Brazil, with its airplane-shaped layout and hidden meanings in its axes and wings, to Palma Nova in Italy, a Renaissance fortress shaped like a nine-pointed star that many say carries Masonic codes. Each city holds mysteries that time has yet to decode. Some believe that a few were designed based on esoteric principles, aligned with stars or constellations, while others seem to hide political, spiritual, and even alien messages. And the more you investigate, the more questions arise. Why did so many distant civilizations choose such similar patterns? How did ancient peoples achieve such precision without modern technology? Were they trying to communicate with something or someone beyond our comprehension? The truth is that behind every perfectly drawn avenue and every millimeter-perfect plaza lies a story of power, beliefs, and hidden intentions that go far beyond architecture. So before we dive into these incredible cities, go ahead and leave your like and subscribe to the channel. This is very important because YouTube only recommends this kind of mysterious and rare content to those who interact. And it is thanks to you that we can continue to reveal what many prefer to hide. And don't leave the video until the end, because the last city on this list holds a revelation so astonishing that it will completely change the way you see the world and the history we've been told. So let's begin the journey through the world of geometric cities. Number 15. Canberra, Australia. Canberra, the capital of Australia, is a classic example of modern urban planning designed completely from scratch. Designed in the early 20th century by American architect and urban planner Walter Burley Griffin, the city was conceived to serve as the political center of the country, away from major metropolises, with a design that integrated functionality, aesthetics, and a close connection to nature. Griffin's plan combines circles, axes, and radial avenues that intersect with artificial lakes, extensive parks, and carefully distributed green spaces, creating a sense of harmony between the urban and the natural. Griffin was inspired by the Garden City movement, which promoted the idea that urban planning could enhance the well-being and productivity of residents by balancing residential, governmental, and recreational areas. Every street, avenue, and building was positioned in alignment with strategic natural points, such as hills and lakes, creating almost hypnotic perspectives when seen from above. The city's geometry is not only visually striking, it reflects a meticulous attention to order, symmetry, and environmental integration, showing that Canberra was designed not merely to live or work in, but to convey a sense of balance, efficiency, and grandeur. Beyond its geometric beauty, Canberra is also an example of social and political planning. The city's sectors were organized to separate administrative, residential, and cultural functions, facilitating mobility and highlighting government buildings at strategic locations. Viewed from above or on detailed maps, it becomes clear that every design decision carries a deliberate intention, a testament to how urban geometry can unite functionality, aesthetics, and symbolic meaning, creating a capital that is efficient, elegant, and deeply thought out. Number 14. Washington, D.C., United States. The American capital, designed by Pierre-Charles L'Enfant, is famous for its grid plan combined with diagonal avenues that connect monuments, squares, and major streets. The design is not merely aesthetic. It was intended to facilitate traffic flow and symbolize power. Some historians point out that the diagonals create intentional lines of sight, allowing buildings such as the Capitol and the White House to become focal points of the city. The geometry of Washington, D.C. also reflects the influence of European principles, particularly from Paris and Versailles, demonstrating a clear intention to convey order, authority, and grandeur. Number 13. Palma Nova, Italy. Palma Nova built in 1593, is perhaps one of the most iconic star-shaped cities in the world. Each point of the fortress features defensive towers, while the internal streets follow a radial pattern that converges on the central square, creating a striking visual symmetry. Originally conceived as a military project by the Republic of Venice, the city was strategically designed to control frontier territories and defend against potential invasions. However, beyond its defensive function, Palmanova's perfect geometry also conveys a sense of harmony, order, and discipline, almost like a visual message of power and control. Observers today note that the city resembles a human mandala, with political and social symbolism embedded into its very layout. The radial streets and star-shaped fortifications not only optimize defense, but also communicate an intentional aesthetic of authority, reflecting the Renaissance belief that urban design could embody principles of balance, logic, and governance. Moreover, Palmanova stands as a testament to how architecture and urban planning were used as instruments of influence, where every street, plaza, and bastion reinforced the ideals of the ruling power. The city's design has fascinated historians, architects, and urban planners for centuries, demonstrating that geometry can be both functional and deeply symbolic, merging military strategy with cultural and political expression. Number 12. Versailles, France. Although world-renowned for its majestic palace, Versailles is also a masterpiece of urban planning that goes far beyond the architecture of the palace itself. From the meticulously designed gardens to the wide radial avenues that stretch for kilometers, the entire city and its surroundings were planned to reflect absolute power, order, and centrality. The urban design of Versailles follows principles of carefully calculated symmetry and geometry. Inspired by classical aesthetics and the philosophy of French absolutism, where the king is at the center not only of political power, but also of physical and symbolic space. The wide avenues aligned with precise sightlines allow breathtaking views of the palace from any strategic point, reinforcing the monarch's presence and authority. The gardens, with their labyrinths, fountains, and groves, are not merely ornamental. Every element follows a rigorous plan that reflects harmony, discipline, and control over nature, symbolizing the king's ability to dominate both the natural environment and society. This urban geometry functions as a visual language of power, where the design of space communicates authority and prestige without words. Moreover, the planning of Versailles influenced cities and palaces across Europe, becoming a model of state urbanism and architecture. The city was not merely a royal residence. It was a political instrument, designed to impress diplomats, nobles, and visitors, conveying the image of an organized, powerful, and unshakable kingdom. Every square, avenue, and radial axis reinforces the idea that geometry can be a form of governance, demonstrating how urban planning can be used not only for functionality or beauty, but as a true instrument of power and prestige. Number 11. Naypyidaw, Myanmar. Naypyidaw, the administrative capital of Myanmar, is one of the most enigmatic planned cities in the modern world. Officially inaugurated in 2005, the city was built almost from scratch. About 320 km from Yangon, the former capital, and designed to house government institutions, official residences, and strategic administrative areas. What stands out is the almost surreal scale of its geometry. Wide avenues, often with multiple lanes, cross the city in long straight lines, connecting government buildings, hotels, and residential zones, yet frequently without the traffic or activity one would expect in a conventional capital. The city's urban planning reveals a clear intention of control and functionality. Each district was precisely delineated, separating governmental, administrative, commercial, and residential areas, creating a highly organized structure. In addition, airports, highways, and even landing strips were built within the city to facilitate strategic movement, something uncommon in world capitals. The vast geometry and almost deserted streets give the impression that Naypyidaw was designed more as an administrative and military center than as a city for daily social life. Beyond its practical function, the city also conveys symbolism of power and modernity. The orderly arrangement of buildings and avenues reflects a philosophy of centralized governance, where every urban space communicates discipline and control. The choice to build the capital in a relatively remote location, combined with the monumental scale of its streets and districts, reinforces the perception of strategic planning and authority. Naypyidaw, therefore, is more than a modern city. It is a physical manifestation of politics, power, and administrative vision, demonstrating how urban planning can be used to shape a nation's perception of itself and its government. Number 10. Barcelona. Example. Spain. The Example district in Barcelona is a classic example of 19th-century modern urban planning, designed by engineer and urban planner Ildefons Cerdà. After the unplanned growth of the city's historic center, Cerdà was tasked with creating an expansion that would address congestion, ventilation, and sanitation issues while promoting a better quality of life for residents. The result was a meticulously planned neighborhood with a strict grid of rectangular streets, intersected by octagonal blocks with rounded corners that facilitate the movement of vehicles and pedestrians, a remarkable innovation for the time. Every detail of the Example had a practical function. The blocks were designed to maximize natural light, allow cross-ventilation, and create inner green spaces, often featuring private gardens and courtyards. Additionally, Cerdà incorporated strategic diagonals connecting squares and avenues, creating an efficient network for mobility and communication within the neighborhood. This geometry not only solves urban problems, but also conveys a sense of order, harmony, and modernity, reflecting the vision of progress in Spanish society at that time. Example is also an example of how urban geometry can shape social and cultural life. Wide avenues and public squares serve as meeting points, while carefully proportioned blocks create a balance between private and community life. Architects like Antoni Gaudí leveraged this precise plan to create masterpieces that integrated seamlessly into the urban grid, demonstrating that geometry and aesthetics can coexist in a functional and artistic way. Today, Example is considered a model of intelligent urbanism, showing that detailed urban planning can transform cities, improve quality of life, and at the same time create spaces that impress with their beauty and organization. Number 9. La Plata, Argentina. Founded in 1882, La Plata is recognized as the first planned city in Argentina, conceived to serve as the capital of Buenos Aires province, following the federalization of the city of Buenos Aires. The city's urbanism is an impressive example of 19th-century rational planning, featuring a perfect grid layout, complemented by diagonals that intersect with strategically positioned circular plazas. Every detail of the urban plan had a practical function. Drainage systems were integrated to prevent flooding. Wide streets and avenues were designed to facilitate the movement of carriages, and later automobiles. And green spaces were harmoniously distributed to provide recreation and natural ventilation for residents. But La Plata is not only functional, it is also an urban work of art. The geometric design conveys a sense of order and almost hypnotic symmetry, as if every street and plaza expressed the vision of its creators regarding harmony and progress. The central plaza, Plaza Moreno, serves as a focal point, connecting public buildings, cathedrals, and administrative centers along carefully considered axes, reflecting the philosophy that geometry can organize not only physical space, but also the social and cultural life of the city. Viewed from above, it becomes clear that La Plata was planned not just for practicality, but to impress and inspire. Architects and historians frequently note that every street, plaza, and avenue possesses proportions that combine functionality, aesthetics, and mathematical logic, demonstrating that urban geometry can simultaneously serve as a tool for efficiency and cultural expression. This innovative planning transformed La Plata into a world-class reference model, influencing subsequent urban projects and showing that even in the 19th century, the relationship between form, function, and beauty was essential to creating cities that endure and inspire admiration. Number 8. Adelaide, Australia. Adelaide, planned by William Light in 1837, is a remarkable example of 19th century urbanism that combines functionality, aesthetics, and quality of life. From the beginning, Light envisioned a city with a regular grid of streets, surrounded by expansive parks and green areas, creating a harmonious contrast between urban spaces and nature. This design was not merely aesthetic. Light had a practical vision considering ventilation, drainage, and mobility, while aiming to provide residents with a healthy and organized environment. Adelaide's urban plan also included wide avenues, strategic diagonals, and public squares, distributed in a way that facilitates circulation and encourages social interaction. Each element had a clear purpose. Parks served as the city's green lungs, while wide streets allowed easy passage for carriages and later motor vehicles, reflecting foresight for future growth. The regular arrangement of blocks and integration with nature create a sense of balance and harmony, demonstrating that urban geometry can be used to promote the well-being of inhabitants. Moreover, Adelaide exemplifies how urban planning can reflect social and cultural values. The city was designed to be accessible and functional, but also to impress and convey an image of order and progress. Light's design influenced other Australian cities and is frequently studied as a model of the modern garden city, where geometry serves not only aesthetics but also quality of life, social organization, and urban functionality. Today, Adelaide remains a classic example of how well-thought-out urban planning can create a city that is beautiful, efficient, and enduring. Number 7. Dubai, Palm Islands, United Arab Emirates. Although modern and artificial, Dubai features a truly unique geometry with the Palm Jumeirah, Palm Jebel Ali, and Palm Dara Islands. The idea emerged in the early 2000s when Dubai decided to expand its coastal territory and create an urban symbol recognizable from anywhere in the world. The palm tree shape visible from the sky is not merely aesthetic. Each trunk, frond, and eyelet was meticulously planned to maximize residential, tourist, and commercial space, ensuring logistical efficiency and visual impact. The engineering behind these islands is extraordinary. Millions of cubic meters of sand were dredged from the seabed, transported and compacted with precision to form the solid base of each island, while rock barriers protected against erosion and sea currents. Urban planning was not limited to shape alone. Internal canals and roads were designed to provide easy access to luxury hotels, private residences, and marinas, creating a luxurious urban microcosm of exclusivity. Moreover, the palm-shaped geometry has become a global icon, visible even from space, projecting an image of power, wealth, and technological innovation. Palm Jumeirah, the most famous of the three, features parallel avenues lined with high-end buildings, five-star hotels, and sophisticated leisure areas, reflecting Dubai's ambition to establish itself as a global reference in tourism and engineering. More than aesthetics, the layout of the Palm Islands reflects an urban and symbolic strategy, controlling territorial expansion, attracting international investment, and creating landmarks that stand out globally. This monumental geometry demonstrates how the combination of urban planning, advanced engineering, and symbolic vision can completely transform a city, serving as an example of how geometry, when applied with purpose, can be a tool for projecting power, luxury, and cultural identity. Number 6, Brasilia, Brazil. Inaugurated in 1960, Brasilia is one of the most famous examples of a planned city. Lucio Costa designed the city in the shape of an airplane or bird, with specific sectors designated for housing, commerce, and government functions. Oscar Niemeyer complemented the plan with modernist architecture. The geometry of Brasilia is not merely visual, it represents the ideas of future, progress, and rationality. Every avenue and building conveys order, efficiency, and an idealistic vision of society. Number 5, Chandigarh, India. Designed by Le Corbusier. In the 1950s, Chandigarh is a modern city divided into sectors, featuring wide streets and green zones. The geometry follows a functional and aesthetic logic, with prominent public buildings and well-planned communal spaces. The intention was to create a city model that combined modernity and quality of life, demonstrating how urban planning can serve as an instrument of social transformation. Number 4, Milton Keynes, England. Built in the 1960s, Milton Keynes features a grid network of streets with wide avenues and planned green spaces. The goal was to combine mobility, efficiency, and leisure, creating a functional and organized environment. The city's geometry facilitates transportation and circulation, but it also conveys a sense of controlled order, reflecting the mindset of 20th century British urban planning. Number 3. Zlatni Rat, Bol, Croatia. Although better known as a beach, the Zlatni Rat Peninsula has a natural geometric shape that connects to the neighboring town. The combination of its natural layout and adapted urbanism demonstrates how geometry can emerge from the interaction between the environment and human intervention, creating harmonious and unique places. Number 2. Auroville, India. Founded in 1968. Auroville is an experimental city based on circular planning, with the Matrimandir matrix at its center and concentric neighborhoods surrounding it. The geometry symbolizes unity, harmony, and spiritual growth. Each sector serves a social, cultural, or residential function, reflecting design principles that aim to balance the needs of the individual with those of the community. Number 1. Brøndby Højbjerg, Garden City, Denmark. Finally, we arrive at Brøndby Højbjerg in Denmark. Built in the 1960s, this garden city may appear simple, but its layout reveals an almost perfect circle with streets and green areas strategically distributed. The garden city concept aims to harmonize urbanism with nature, promoting quality of life and social integration. The geometry here is not merely aesthetic. It represents a planning philosophy that combines functionality, urban health, and beauty, demonstrating that even in seemingly ordinary places, architecture can hide lessons about balance, well-being, and forward-thinking vision. These 15 cities demonstrate that urban geometry is not just art or technique, it is history, philosophy, and social vision translated into streets, squares, and avenues. By observing each layout, we can perceive intentions of order, beauty, efficiency, and even cultural identity. From classical to modern planning, from natural to artificial, these cities show that urban design is its own language, capable of communicating ideas and values across centuries. And now, reflecting on these cities, one question remains. What makes a city truly impactful? Is it its history, its functionality, its aesthetics? Or the way its geometry makes us realize that every street, square, and avenue carries an intention, a message, and a purpose that goes far beyond what we see on the ground? So don't forget, like, subscribe, and share. It is thanks to your support that we can continue exploring the mysteries and stories that the world hides. And stay tuned, because each city we studied today shows that in the end, urban design is more than organization. It is the way humanity leaves its mark on space and time.